The Steam Winter Sale is up and running strong, and as usual, it's the best time to nab some games at some serious discounts. Hello everybody, this is Havoc, and today I want to bring you a great list of strategy games, old and new alike, that are some must-haves for any strategy player across all levels. Each of these games will have a link to their Steam page or My Nexus Game Store page, both of which have the same exact discount. So you can show your appreciation for the list by paying the exact same amount, just helping this channel out a bit along the way if you choose to use Nexus. So in no particular order, let's dive into 9 strategy games you need to buy during the 2021 Steam Winter Sale. Starting with Suzerain. Suzerain is currently 35% off at an easy $9.74 and is one of my most recent obsessions in the strategy RPG genre, thanks completely to Party Elite. In Suzerain, you are Anton Rain, the newly elected president of Swordland, a fictional country set in our accurate 1950s historical timeline, but taking place almost in a completely different world. Just crawling out of a 20-year dictatorship preceded by a bloody civil war, Swordland is full of political strife, economic depression, and international intrigue. In this text-based narrative, you will lead the country through conversations and events with your cabinet, the General Assembly, military leaders, diplomats, and even your own family. There are budgets to adhere to. Not every area of the country can receive the same attention, and campaign promises to be kept. Do you follow through with your promise to democratize the country and bring education, healthcare, and reforms to the masses? Or instead will you choose to cling to power, becoming the dictator you stood up to campaign against? Every single choice you make in Suzerain has consequences, good or bad. Who you choose to trust, who you choose to sacrifice, and how you lead is 100% in your own hands. Suzerain does a fantastic job keeping you on the edge about your decisions, and with so many different paths to follow, resulting in so many different endings, you can easily get wrapped up in this game, and I highly recommend that you do. Next up is Total War Attila at its usual 75% off, bringing it down to just over $11. Released in 2015 and set during the crumbling of the Western Roman Empire, Total War Attila could easily be described as Total War Survive, as even playing a smaller faction, you'll need to figure out how to endure through massive unrest, climate change, and of course, the Huns. I will admit, I'm 100% biased with Attila, as it is my favorite slice of history to study. With regards to the game, it's so thematically on point, from the drab and dreary color palette, the rise of Attila himself, and the feel of despair in trying to hold together the WRE. Attila also brought about nearly every positive change in the franchise, the new UI layout, narrative style gameplay, and siege destruction progression, to name a few. And aside from maybe Thrones of Britannia, Attila has some of the best siege gameplay in the series. Attila has a bad reputation for its poor optimization, but I found that with about any newer system hardware, it's not difficult to get those frame rates on the campaign map or on the battles to stay above 60 FPS unless you've got over, 10,000 troops on the field, which can certainly happen. But to be frank, there's not really a Total War game that can handle that properly anyways. If that doesn't persuade you, Attila has some of the best mods, from Ancient Empires to 1212 AD, Terminus Total War Imperium to the Rise of Mordor. At 75% off, right this very moment is the best time to grab Attila. While you're at it, grab the Age of Charlemagne DLC. It's easily the best DLC Total War has ever created. Another fantastic game is Crusader Kings III, knocking off 20% down to $40. I won't go into a ton of detail on this title, as you can easily look through this channel and get loads of information on it. To condense, CK3 is a grand strategy game set during the medieval era, putting you at the head of a family of characters in which you must carve out your own legacy entirely based on your actions and reactions to the world around you. You can start small as a duke over a single hold, or attempt to keep power and expand as the emperor over a huge swath of the map. Regardless of your size, you'll need to use intrigue to gather information and take advantage of those around you. Use your diplomatic skills to arrange alliances based on military strength, or find the perfect spouse that will guarantee some genetic traits that will continue through your royal bloodline. If all else fails, use the power of your levies and men-at-arms to forcefully take land that is, obviously, yours by right, taking on vassals or taking down rival kingdoms. You'll need to use your court wisely to make the most of any situation, while also ensuring that your heirs will have lands to govern on your death. Can you guarantee the survival of your dynasty? using each generation to continually build on the legacy of your ancestors, or will the family fade away as time passes? It's entirely up to you. The amount of varied gameplay in CK3 is dang near infinite, and Paradox is steadily adding more and more gameplay features as development continues, both in paid DLC and in free updates. The learning curve is a bit steep for anyone new to the grand strategy scene, but CK3 does a great job in its tutorial and user interface to make that a bit easier for you. Investing in Paradox Grand Strats early is the best way to play, so make the diplomatic move right now and take advantage of this chunk of change off the base price, especially since its first big DLC, The Royal Court, drops in early February of 2022. Next up is a game that will severely show off my age, and it's Stronghold HD Edition. And it's at 75% off for an incredibly cheap $1.50. Released in 2001, Stronghold was one of my first tastes at an RTS city builder, although for obvious reasons this could be called a castle builder. Stronghold allows you to design, build, and destroy medieval castles, but it's much deeper than that. This game is also a castle simulator, meaning you're in charge of ensuring the progression and evolution of your castle, from simple woodcutting and hunting for food, and producing basic spearmen and archers, the more advanced productions of bread and ale, stone cutting and metalworking for stronger fortifications, and to generate more advanced types of troops like crossbowmen, knights, and even siege equipment. You'll need to manage your people along the way, making sure they have food to eat, with larger ration sizes generating more happiness. Use this happiness, or fear if that's how you want to rule, in order to generate taxes to pay for your troops or trade for materials. Stronghold features a fun and lengthy 21 mission campaign with custom matches and siege scenarios included. It's a must-buy that is beyond affordable if you're looking at this sale. Keeping to the medieval old school theme is Knights of Honor, currently at 75% off for only $2.50. This one released in 2005, and even without the high-def mod that you can download, it still holds its ground incredibly well for being a 16-year-old game. In this grand strategy game, you are king, and as king, it's your duty to lead your people from humble and meager beginnings into greatness as the dominating power in Europe. Taking place in the 3 different eras of the medieval time period, you'll use several aspects of medieval life to bring glory and expansion to your empire. First, and most importantly, your knights. They'll help run things, from your armies as generals to governors of your regions, choosing their skills as they prove themselves during their lifetime. Knights are essential to the game, and their loyalty is equally as crucial to make sure that they remain as happy as possible to keep your life much simpler. The development of your estates and castles will stimulate your economy, where building combinations and region-specific resources can further give you a leg up against your neighbors, boost the happiness of your population, and certain building chains even unlock different troop types. Diplomatically, you'll have to juggle the options of trade agreements, military alliances, using the marriages of your daughters to secure your kingdom from future attacks. Utilize spies and assassins to bring down empires from within. Just be wary for the exact thing to happen in your own court. If diplomacy isn't your thing, there's always the tried and true method of war. Featuring real-time battles, not unlike an early Total War, battles aren't nearly as massive, but they are still very enjoyable and one of the easiest ways to expand in the game. Should you be waiting on Knights of Honor 2 Sovereign to ever release, fingers crossed for 2022, I highly recommend buying this game and playing it while you wait. Moving on to space, with Warhammer 40k Battlesector, discounted at 20% for $32. While one of the more expensive games in this sales video, don't just pass it over for the price, because even at $32, this game is, and in 2022 most definitely, will be worth the price. Battlesector's current campaign takes you to the Blood Angels' home base Baal Secundus after a massive Tyranid invasion, which was only halted thanks to a giant rift torn open by chaos. Leading a troop of said Blood Angels, led by Sergeant Carleon, you will discover how the Tyranids were able to invade without warning and preserve the honor of your brethren. This turn-based strategy game plays a lot like tabletop Warhammer, with limited movement and attack ranges, various troop types and weaponry, not to mention skills and abilities. Combine these all together and you have an extremely fun tactical battle game with an engaging and intense campaign. As the campaign progresses, you'll have the chance to take on new leaders and new troop types, leveling them up at the end of each battle to gain new buffs, new traits, and even new weapons. The only disappointing part of Battlesector was its limitation to playing only as the Blood Angels in campaign. That is until just recently. Announced a couple of weeks ago, not only is Battlesector getting its first DLC race, the Necrons, it's also getting a new free campaign type, featuring a conquest-style campaign map, capturing territories and battling for control of resources that can turn the tide of the war. The base game, combined with this new 2022 update, should warrant your one big Christmas sale purchase if you've got the wallet to do so. Sticking to Warhammer 40k, Warhammer 40k Dawn of War Master Collection, currently 75% off at just under $10. This real-time strategy base building game is an oldie, but a fantastic one that again stands firm even today. In Dawn of War, you'll capture resource points across the map to build up your base, giving you the ability to deploy different types of troops to battle against an enemy who is doing the exact same thing. You can level up your troops to have more men per squad, or certain weapon upgrades to cater to different playstyles. The Master Collection features all DLC and the campaigns that come with them, giving you more races to choose from: Space Marines, Orcs, Chaos and Eldar, to Necrons and the Imperium. You can use all of them across their campaigns or play them in skirmish mode and even multiplayer. Dawn of War featured some new systems at the time it was first released back in 2006, with things like squad-based combat, cover, and even morale, which played a part in many war games utilizing the same mechanics in their own games in the future. This one has some serious nostalgia behind it, as it was my go-to LAN party multiplayer game back in high school before online multiplayer was the norm. This Master Collection at $10 is a great deal, and by the Emperor, you should grab it on sale. The last of these deals in space, I have to include Sins of a Solar Empire, the Ultimate Edition, currently discounted at 65% for just $25. If Dawn of War was my go-to for RTS land-based battles back in the day, Sins of a Solar Empire was my go-to for RTS 4X space battles. In Sins, you control one of three races vying for control of a network of planets and other celestial bodies of one or more stars. You start with one humble planet, exploring and expanding along defined paths between planets to exploit two primary resources, metal and crystal. Using these resources along with credits from trade in your population, you can colonize these planets, construct various research facilities, shipyards, and defenses, and let's not forget, massive fleets of ships to take on your enemies. Research is broken up into economic and military tech trees, which in themselves have various branches for you to tailor your empire accordingly. Upgrade your planets to host more buildings and defenses, or boost trade and resource extraction, even unlock military weapons upgrades and heavier ship types. One of the bigger aspects of the game centers around massive capital ships, and there are several types for each race, from tanky battleships to fleet carriers and support vessels to keep your smaller ships in the battle for much longer. The Ultimate Edition includes the base game, the standalone expansion Rebellion, and all of the DLC associated between the two. And if that isn't enough, you can download a range of overhaul mods that transform Sins of a Solar Empire into the Star Wars universe or even Halo, both of which I've played and are an immense amount of fun in multiplayer. So if you're waiting for Homeworld 3 or simply love games like Star Wars Empire at War, then Sins of a Solar Empire is definitely a relevant game that should be on your radar during this Christmas sale. Now, our final game is really a franchise, and it's the Total War franchise. I know I've already dropped Attila at the start of this video, but every single released Total War game is on sale right now at the lowest prices they'll ever be throughout these sales. Attila is $11. Rome 2 is $15. Thrones is $10. Empire and Napoleon are both at $6.25 each. Shogun 2 is at $7.50, and even Warhammer 2 is 66% off at just $20 for the base game. And all of these are available at the same sale price on my Nexus store, and it would be a great show of support if you used my store to purchase any of these games that are at the library. I grew up on the Total War franchise, and there are some fantastic games on sale for those wanting to jump in for the first time and play any of them. And with that last one, the end of this video. Guys, the winter sale runs until January 5th, so you have some time to figure out what you'd like to play. and hopefully I've given you some great ideas to take advantage of. 2022 is going to be packed full of new strategy games, but you've got some time before release to get into some already released ones, and I look forward to hearing what you decide to buy. Thank you so much for checking the video out. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, sub to the channel, and turn on bell notifications. Let me know what you get in the winter sale, regardless of genre, in the comment section down below. This is Havoc, and I'll see you in the next one.